Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. Now, this message is specifically in regards to a dream that I had last night. So, for those of you that find that this message resonates with you, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with my messages as they come through, okay? So, I wanted to tell you all about this dream. So, last night, as I was dreaming, I dreamt that I was in a room with about four or five other people, and there were three Europeans that was there with me and about four or five other people who were seated at a table, and we were told that we had 5 seconds, 5 seconds to write on paper. This is the European woman. She told us we had 5 seconds to put on paper to express, pretty much define who we were and what our spiritual gifts were. Okay. Now, they called it psychic. Some people like to use the term psychic. We had 5 seconds to write out who we were and how we define our spiritual gifts. And so when she turned on the timer, before she turned on the timer, I already knew. I said, you know what, this is some BS. Because you know good and damn well, I can barely pick up the pen within 5 seconds, let alone define who I am and what my gifts are and what I've been placed here to do with them. And so everybody else was like in um, scrambling to hurry up and put their definition on paper. So I started to write mine out, but then I put the pen down and I was like, you know what, to hell with this. This woman is tripping. I'm not about to do all of this. So she got mad as soon as 5 seconds was up. She's like, time's up. And so everybody that was there, the ones that were scrambling to try to write it down, they got disappointed because at that point, I guess they knew that they was not going to qualify for something. I'm not even sure what we were supposed to qualify for, but apparently we were supposed to be proving something to these people, okay, by reaching their um, their requirements to define who we were and what our gifts why we had our gifts and what our gifts were supposed to do for the world. So when she said time's up, I said, you know what? I'm not even worried about it. So I had an attitude and so did they. So she was like, you know what? Unfortunately, you all do not qualify. And so we all left. Now, at this point, I knew this woman was just straight up bitter because she had one of those expressions that just looked like she was just a bitter, you know, just a bitter female, okay? And so we left out. We ended up in this field, y'all. The field was full. It looked like it was a football field. It was so big, and the entire field was covered in watermelon. Now, this wasn't watermelon that was inside of the shell. This was watermelon that had already been opened, cut into squares, and the entire field was full of watermelon. And not just watermelon though, but it was big wads of money. Watermelon and wads of money that was in plastic. And I remember walking through and realizing like it was me and that group of people who she disqualified from whatever it is that she was testing us on. We was walking through this field and I remember looking at the watermelon like, oh, it was so red. All of it was so red. You know, when a watermelon is red, you can tell that's when it's real sweet. So even though we was walking on the watermelon, I still was tempted because I'm like, I gotta taste this watermelon. I picked it up and I ate it, and I'm telling y'all, it was so sweet and good. And I remember looking at the wads of money thinking like, if I take some of this money, I wonder if this person is going to come after me, these people that was testing us. So I didn't pick up the money, but we kept walking through this watermelon field, and I remember getting down on the other side and somebody was blasting some music. They was dancing, doing a dance competition, and then I woke up. So this was a very interesting dream because I feel like it was a test for those of you who have spiritual gifts. I feel like that European woman and those two men represented the opposition that's trying to test you, to pretty much tell you that you have a limited amount of time to express your spiritual gifts to the world. You have a limited amount of time to prove yourself, to be worthy, to take on such a position as a spiritual teacher, a spiritual healer, an herbalist, a Reiki master, whatever it is you desire to do that deals with spirituality, that time is running out, and that you have an unrealistic limited amount of time because mind you, she gave us 5 seconds to express our contribution and what our gifts are supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. 5 seconds is not long enough to express something that great, right? And so there is outside forces that want to convince you that what you have to offer to the world is not enough, because they want to tell you that there is a limited amount of time on how much time you have to express those gifts. They want to box you in or put you in a position where you feel like your gifts are not valid, they're not good enough, okay? And so it's a lot of pressure on those of you or those of us who have been given these positions or these spiritual gifts, and we know that we have this contribution to make to humanity. And there are those people who recognize you, because we was called into this room to prove something to them. What we were supposed to prove, I really don't know. But by the time I realized that they was being unrealistic about what they expected from us, I didn't even care to try and rush to do what they was asking me to do, because I knew when she said 5 seconds that they didn't want to see us win from the very beginning. They didn't want to see us succeed from the very beginning. And so that's why I was so open to saying, you know what, I'm out of here. But the beautiful thing behind all of this, though, y'all, is that I recognized that they had no authority to determine whether or not my gifts would be expressed to the world. They had no authority. I realized that she was just a hater, that they were just haters, and that they knew the gifts that we possess, but they didn't want us to know the gifts that we possess. And that was just a position that we was placed in to make us feel less than, or to make us feel unworthy. But it did not work. When we walked up out of there, we walked into a field of watermelon and wads of money. I'm talking about a football field where there was no area that you can walk in where there wasn't watermelon or money. And so that in and of itself lets you know, if you look up what does it mean to see a bunch of watermelon in a dream, that means abundance, baby. That means that beautiful things are coming into your life that you could never imagine. Not just beautiful things, but the vast amount, the quantity that was shown in my dream, with the currency there on top of the watermelon, the entire football field full, lets you know that it's getting ready to be an overflow of abundance that you can't even imagine. Okay? So some of you might be saying, well, how is this going to happen? Don't question it. Just anticipate it. Step out there, do the work. Don't feel like you have to meet a certain time frame in order to awaken your gifts and to present your gifts to the world. Just be willing to do it when that door opens. And when you walk through that door, you're going to find that what's waiting on you on the other side of that is an infinite amount. Far more. Your cup is going to be overflowing. You're going to have so much abundance in your life. You're going to look back and say, now I understand why I had to go through all of this in order for it to lead me to this moment right here. Okay, you will be highly rewarded for taking on the calling and not being overly concerned about what other people think, whether or not they believe in your gifts, whether or not they believe in you, whether they're telling you, oh, well, time is up. You know, it's too late. You're this age, or you should have done this by this time frame. To heck with what they're talking about. You keep on moving, you keep on walking, and you step into your gift, and you recognize that overflow of abundance is that harvest. It's all about the seeds, because consider watermelons, they're full of seeds. And this is my second dream that I've had about watermelons. Because I remember I had one a few months back, but I've never seen it in this. I mean, I'm talking about, y'all, and it was so sweet and it was so delicious. It's going to be delicious, y'all. The amount of abundance and overflow that's coming into your life is going to be beautiful to your palate. Okay, so anticipate it, look forward to it, because it's greater than, obviously you're doing it for reasons that's greater than yourself. You're doing it for reasons that's greater than just receiving some sort of material gain. But that is the reward for sacrificing and for doing what you was divinely called and placed here to do. So I just wanted to share that dream with you all, for those of you who might be concerned about time, or you might be concerned about how people will see you, or whether or not people are going to judge you for the gifts that you have to contribute to the world, whether or not they're going to believe that you're good enough. It's not about that. You're always good enough when you are organically and authentically expressing what is naturally and inherently placed within you by the Most High Mother and Father. There's no such thing as not being good enough. But you're also going to find that there will always be others who will test you and who will question whether or not what you have to offer is it authentic? Is it good enough? Don't worry about that part, okay? Continue to walk in your purpose. And that overflow, you can't even imagine what it's getting ready to be for the chosen, y'all. So I love you all. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Leave your comments below if you have anything to add in terms of maybe your interpretation of the dream or your personal experience and what you're going through right now. And if you want a private reading from me, email me. If you want any of my other services, everything is, you contact me via email, and I'll be sure to respond to you in a timely fashion. So I love you all, and I'll talk to you all next time.